of the largest social media following. Why don't we convince her to do an NFT and brainstorm together what she could offer in her NFT and get her to go and consider it? How would you feel about that, Paris?
Ever since I've heard about this in the past couple of weeks, that's all I've been thinking about and deciding what I want to do, because I just have, so much media, so much music, art, like content. I don't even know. I just don't know where to really begin. So
that's why we can help you right now. You can take the NFT game to a whole new level, Paris. If we get you to get on board, this would be awesome.
Word. And I'd love to, hey, Kim, hey, Swan, MC. This is X. I'm actually in the process right now of building a platform that'll support multimodal types of drops. So if you wanted to do something that was virtual, like an avatar of yourself for a game, or if you wanted to do something that was like, for example, like taking personal music that maybe you've made and never released and then releasing it so that only one or two people can see it. We're able to do that. I did blockchain at Microsoft for several years. We have a couple of really big investors and other big names on the platform. So happy to collaborate with you in that space and helping you figure out that strategy. We're doing that now, not just with a couple of really, really big name artists from the EDM space, as well as the states of very famous people who have passed on, figuring out also how to attach physical goods as well, right? Because I think that's the next step. This conversation has been a lot around digital assets, but there's also this ability to use blockchain to verify the physical one-of-one goods. So let's say that you have like an item that may be of value, like a shirt you were wearing in a famous photo or something like that, being able to tokenize that as well. So there is infinite possibility, but I do think that being able to work with folks who can help you strategize on what to release and when, alongside other folks who come from the same background as you, would be awesome.
Yeah, and you combine that with like a lifetime VIP party access. Whenever Paris throws a party somewhere, people would be paying $1 million for that.
I agree.
I'd love to jump in here at the bottom. This is Ryan. I was kind of early on the app with Lady Phoenix to bring the NFT discussion here, and our community has been really building over this year, doing like live drop rooms and things. So I set up a club called the Open Metaverse to kind of talk about how this is really a renaissance and a new economy through gaming. And if anyone is interested in tapping in, I would really encourage to do this as a part of the community, and spend time to understand the artists and the people behind the platforms, and we'll really kind of embrace you and we'll help with strategy. So if anyone is interested to learn more, we've basically set that up as a place for people to come plug in and really get to know what's going on.
What's awesome is
one thing I would like to just add to this as well is just maybe a cautionary note around physical items that are represented by NFTs. It's not that it can't be done, and there are some like cool ideas where people are building chips that you can embed in things. It's just that it really makes things super complex. As an example, like think about it. If you have like a bomber jacket, you put a chip in it, it's great. Now what happens if that bomber jacket gets stolen? It might not, like the person who steals it might not even realize that it's got this like underlying value or whatever, but they've stolen it and now the NFT is worthless because the physical item that's attached to it is gone. So it's not like it can't be done or anything like that. I just think it adds like complexity, and NFTs really win when they are just purely digital. And like Kim said as well, like it could be an access token as well as all sorts of other things. So don't forget about composability, and don't be bound to the physical world. Like, oh, this needs to have some sort of physical representation. It doesn't at all. I mean, there's all sorts of things that you can do with it down the line, like gated access and whatever, that don't require there to be a physical item attached to it.
Ricardo?
Can I add something to that? These things can be updated over time too. So the idea that you sell something and it just stays the same, you can actually improve and modify them as the years go on. So they're kind of like a growing, evolving product if you choose to build them that way.
A quick idea, Ricardo, based on what you were saying, would be to create a physical thing that you would otherwise sell as like expensive piece of art, be it a painting or a garment or something like that. Create a digital version of it and destroy the physical object, and then
Oh,
also
yeah.
sell the NFT.
You should do that with something
Oh,
you've
yeah.
worn before at an event or something prominent in your collection of fashion. That would be incredible. And then post the video of you burning it. That would just blow everybody's mind. You'd
The
break
only
internet.
remaining
I
one
love
is the
that
NFT.
idea.
The physical one has been destroyed.
Yeah, I love that idea, because
Yes.
the thing is, like, then there's so much stuff you can do. You can be like, the NFT is both the still image of the item and the video of you burning it. You know, I mean, like, there's all sorts of really just amazing stuff that you can do when you stop binding yourself to the single medium.
There's an interesting project called Socks, if anyone has followed it, and it's big. They literally, yeah, it's so good, and it's kind of like that. And basically, the socks, I think when they launched, they were like $10, as most socks are, and now they're up to literally, I think they just hit $100,000 or $90,000.
It was 150, I think, a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there's been jokes that's like you can trade in your token for a physical sock, and then it removes it from the ecosystem, thus probably making the socks worth more because there's a fixed supply. And so there's something really interesting there that you guys kind of touched on, just burning the socks by turning them in.
Paris,
there's so much you could do with that.
Paris, do that with one of your pink Birkin bags. It'll go for a couple million.
Oh, that's smart.
People won't get
smart.
People are not going to get mad if it's burnt. Like they don't give a shit, or
they will, and
That's
that will drive more attention.
That's so good.
There's no such thing as bad publicity, as we all know.
The token was
you ride
in that Lindsay
Lohan.
Lohan.
So mad.
Hey, everybody! Too many people talking. Can't
Pink
hear
That
Birkin.
burn is going to be unique.
Pink Birkin.
No, there's no other Birkin that's going to have the exact same burns, you know? So.
Oh my God. There are also ways with the physical items to prevent it. Like if the item is stolen, you could flag it as stolen, which would then stop the NFT from being traded. You know what I mean? I did a lot of this in terms of like physical verification of goods with like pharmaceutical drugs or like physical tangible goods for very large industries. There are ways, and I do agree that digital is 100% the way forward. But I just want to point out to the room that there are other ways that you can still bind a physical object to the blockchain and circumvent some of the human experiences that happen around physical goods. Obviously, virtual first, 100% with you guys, but just wanted to flag that.
Yeah, so X, I mean, one of the things that I've been thinking about is just in terms of like the physical, like stolen items, right? So you can get your NFT stolen as well. Like that is totally a thing that could happen. But then the nice thing about it is, assuming the creator still exists, the creator can actually just reissue the NFT, and you know, the stolen one loses value. It can never be resold. I think just intrinsically, if it's stolen, it loses value immediately. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do like that. Whereas like once a physical item is stolen, well, you know, I mean, it's super challenging. Can it ever, unless it's recovered, can it ever really have value again?
I would reply, but I don't want to be moved to the audience again.
Hey Fluffy, you said something interesting, man. It reminded me of like Demolition Man in the 6th Day. I don't know if you saw that, but about the future and how you know, it could get interesting in the next couple.
Wait, Omar, did X have something to say? I just want to make sure X speaks if X.
Every time audience, and I moved her back, but we need her intellectual capital. And I don't know who keep doing that, but anyway,
there's too many mods right now. That's why.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
That's right.
X, we got you. Please comment on that last. Comment on the last thing. Finish that thought.
Yeah, with the physical piece, I mean, once something is stolen, it's kind of the same as like if somebody burns their EFC or their token, right? Like if I go in with the ERC 721 standard, I have the ability to delete my token permanently, which means no one can trade it. So then what value does that digital art have if there's no token for me to verify it or then continue to send it? So we see these problems on both sides. I don't think that there's a 100% solution. I do think that there are very, very valid methods. And I think With physical goods as well, the NFT doesn't have to be tied to the physical item. You could generate like a certificate of authenticity for the item, right? And then like when collectors trade the item, maybe there's an RFID. I've worked with those QR codes, the whole nine, to be able to map to that certificate of authenticity. And you do those high value deals through traded brokers or escrows for physical items, as opposed to it being as instantaneous as it would be in the physical world. So if I'm selling a one of one Babe Ruth autographed baseball, I mean, obviously I could go on eBay and buy one, or I could go to like an antique shop that deals with collectibles that I know is going to give me a valid item and I'm not going to get scammed. So there are ways to reduce it. I think there's no perfect solution on either side of the house. I do think digital is a little bit more safe, but do think it is possible.
That's great.
Can I ask a slightly different question on this topic? I'm kind of curious on, especially Gabe, how do you think of like the showcase wallet for NFTs? Like you own an NFT, how does it be presented to the user? Is this avatar platforms where, your avatar has these, rare NFT items in gaming, or is it actually like a glass showcase in a 3D website? I'm kind of curious, like, what does that look like when you're trying to show off? Because that's such a large component of ownership of NFT.
I think that should be at the wall through an explorer. I don't think, I think that should kind of happen. I think that should on like a fundamental level, like blockchain level, not necessarily an app, more like through an explorer, meaning that I should be able to just search people's NFTs collections anywhere. I mean, it's all could essentially like make offers even to any wallet in the world if I wanted to buy something. So it'll be like per app and then on the exchange itself, but I don't think that it should be in the app. I think it should be part of the blockchain explorers.
Got it. So it looks like business ideas, Google search for NFT wallets or some type of way to be searchable, and then an ad network that manages the data based off targeting. Exactly. Audiences. Yep.
Yeah. But awesome. I think it should just be done through explorers, right? Search just through an explorer.
Yeah. So that's going to be a lot easier than it was like even 2 years ago, because an employee at Amazon, Mike Sokolov, I work with him on Apache Lucene and Solar. He just added dense vector support. So basically, it's practically infeasible to make encrypted content or an encrypted index searchable at a speed that people would be comfortable with or tolerate. Hitachi has killed a whole division of their business after chasing this. But with dense vector search, I mean, you can easily represent these NFTs in vector space and then be able to retrieve them real quickly and retrieve similar or like nearest neighbor type similar NFTs or similar items. And I think it's a really great time to be alive.
Don't you think that they would do like, why not just do public though, right? To make the searching easier.
No, it will be public. No, I'm saying he gave it away for free. So Amazon.
Oh, okay,
yeah. He works on Apache Lucene full time, and they're not known for being like an open source haven, but search is the one where they have to be because they depend on it so much for their business. Alexa, Amazon.com, several other businesses, and Amazon and AWS, and so that's been given to the world. We could build it and make it a public search engine, and I think that's a great thought because we have to make this marketplace and this access to liquidity simple as a search box, because everybody knows how to use that.
Yeah, and I mean, Apache are great open source or a great company to sort of maintain that, a great organization. Like one thing as well that that occurs to me with this is, I mean, Gabe, as you know, I'm a huge privacy proponent. I don't know how comfortable I'd feel with like my NFT collection being exposed. So I do think that there is some value in allowing collectors to opt in to what they want to display. Maybe Absolutely. You can have like, well, this is my private collection. It's on an address that's unattached, unassociated with me. And then, when I do want NFTs to be visible, then I transfer them to a visible collection through some method. And I mean, there's lots of, we've been talking about zero knowledge assets and zero knowledge state changes for a long time, and there's some design stuff around that, but I definitely think it's doable.
Yeah, it's almost like an NFT museum is needed where you can allocate if you're owning an NFT in a private manner. I'm just curious on what that vehicle is because I agree. Like, if with my NFT collection, I would want to have that privacy layer. And I kind of bring this all out because it's really cool in this abstract conversation. There's probably like 3 or 4 business models that have been called out that people should be building for already. So I appreciate you playing it. Like, and Ricardo, in your kind of world, then is like, how do you view, like, do you ever want to show off your assets that you own, or do you view it as private? Like, I'm just kind of curious how you think through your NFT ownership personally as a power user.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I mean, I guess as sort of a level set, like I'm also a gigantic sneakerhead. I have a huge collection of Lego. So clearly, you know, and then I've got a bunch of watches as well. So like I clearly have a collector issue, you know, not a bad thing, but it's a thing. And I take a look at like my sneaker collection. You know, my sneaker collection, like I have no problem with saying to people, hey, come look at my sneakers if they're visiting and I know that they're sneakerheads as well. But I certainly don't like put my sneakers outside in the front garden for everyone who's driving past to see. So, you know, with like the analog for that is with some of my NFTs, I don't mind people knowing that I own them, but like I'll tweet about it or something if I really want people to know about my ownership of them. I don't think that it's the sort of thing where I would go and just sort of have a public display. But then the flip side to that is there are organizations or groups of, or collectives, I guess is probably the best term, like Whale Shark, which is, I want to say an NFT fund, but that's maybe not exactly the best description. They own a bunch of NFTs and they've got a social token behind it. And I, you know, it's almost like buying into their NFT collection. And I think that there's organizations like that where they want everyone to know like what NFTs they own. And there's also like a way for them to surface new creators by buying the NFT, and people that are watching their collection go, oh, they bought Blau's NFT, or they you know did whatever, and it surfaces these creators to, you know, which might otherwise have gone unnoticed. And I think that's very valuable too. So it is definitely a bit of a mixed bag where some people want it to be just like objectively very, very public, and others do not at all.
No, I appreciate that.
I just had a quick. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, has anyone started to think about, or is this even possible, insurance for NFTs, especially for larger collectors?
You know, I feel like NFTs are insurance in and of themselves, right? SHA 256, like math is the insurance. But you're right, it's a good thought. I have insurance on my art, but not on my off-whites. I don't have insurance on my off-white Jordans, but I should, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's so look, the thing with insurance is I feel like it might, I mean, it's very interesting to think about, but with insurance in the NFT world, I'm curious to find out how vulnerable NFTs are to wash trading, which, you know, I mean, like you can imagine if you just trade an NFT back and forward, and you pump that price up, it's your own money, right? So you just keep pumping that price up, and then, oh, it's lost. Oh, okay, cool. I need to put in an insurance claim, and you get paid out. But I mean, the real value of it is nothing at all, you know, like with the value that you've been paid out because you've been doing this wash trading. I mean, I guess you can do the same thing in the art world, right? It's harder to manipulate because there's so many people, and you need to do it at like Christie's or something. And yeah, maybe also because Christie's take a big chunk of it, that it becomes significantly harder to pull off a stunt like that.
All right, but I want to jump in here. We still have like Paris Hilton here and some of these big time celebrities that could easily sell. I'm just gonna sound crazy to you, Paris, but you probably would sell a $20 million NFT. And you could probably do it by
just
Friday.
told her 30
By
million.
Friday, yeah, 30 million by Friday, not by this Friday. So if you want it, like, if you want to do it, like Kim brought it up, and he's right. Like, but what do you think? Like, would you want to do it? We could literally do it this week. I'd probably spend a little time marketing it.
P, do you want me to connect you to Gabe?
Yeah, this
Wait,
sounds
I
epic.
just sent you, Paris, the contact of Josh Frazier, who has done the Blau NFT auction yesterday, and they made 11.6 million. They can get 30 million for you in a heartbeat. So
Yeah,
just check your DMs and see if your team can contact him.
Especially if you use an Elon Musk flamethrower for the burn.
Well, there is. It's just like anything else. You kind of need a story, right? You need some kind of reason to do it. It doesn't work very well if you just say, "Oh, here's my random thing that I made. Buy it." You still have to put some effort into it if you really want to get the most out of it.
A video of that would literally break the internet, Paris.
And whatever, remember,
I'm looking at the Birkin right now.
So
yes, go in that direction.
Whatever Paris sells this Birkin for, it's gonna go for double that in like 2 weeks, probably.
2 weeks is pushing it.
You should also cut it up and sell that as well. Afterwards for $1 each for the fans.
The ashes.
I'm surprised no one said the kind of like skill tree almost what she has, right? Like if auction one had 5 items.
I know.
It's crazy, right? Like,
yeah.
And then you unlock.
Gabe and Paris, I put you guys on text with each other.
Wiley, like,
yes,
we keep saying this, but
that's the money right there.
I know the world's kind of turning into a video. Wiley and I used to work together. The world's kind of turning into a video game, and like the people who know how to make video games kind of are going to start running the world. But yeah, I mean, the way just kind of get your head around it, where like, as I'm a guy, I've been making games for like 20 years. I had 3 #1 top grossing world games on the mobile in a row for like 5 years straight. So I know how to do this stuff at least at selling stuff to people in like a video game. I'm very, very good at that. And what we're seeing right now is like nothing. I know it seems shocking. Everything kind of seems crazy, and it almost seems like a fad, and it's not going to last. And you need to do it right now because it's going to end any minute. And the numbers seem crazy, but none of this stuff, this is for a video game guy, none of this stuff is crazy to me. I've been seeing this for the past 12 years, just in games. I have friends who have players in games that have spent, $10 million in their game. But just the experience of the game. So seems like really weird, but it's actually just video game like behavior spreading to everything, including artwork and memorabilia and all kinds of collectibles, everything. But for me, I first saw this in 2007, and it went from 2007 all the way up to now, and it never change. And when I first saw it in 2007, I said to this is not going to keep going. This is crazy. There's no way that people keep spending like this. This is just like a one-time thing. And it just kept getting escalating and escalating and escalating until I finally got used to it. But it took a long time before I wrapped my head around it. And I would say, 99% of the people looking at this right now are in complete shock. They think it's insane. It's not going to last. It's impossible. This is going to keep going. And what Wiley's pointing out is that not only is it going to keep going, but it's going to get crazier because the methods that people are using right now to sell these things are really primitive. Video games are way more advanced than what we're seeing right now. So you'll see a big escalation over the next couple of years.
Hey, Gabe, can you give me some of your thoughts on charged particle?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that last part. It was a little bit scratchy.
Oh, no.
Sorry, say it again.
On charged particles.
Oh, charged particles. Oh, yeah, charged particles is super interesting. What charged particles does is they do a token so you sell the NFT, but the NFT will come with Bitcoin. Bitcoin unlocks a year later. So what's really interesting about that from like a value perspective is, let's say I buy Paris's NFT for $50,000. You know, Bitcoin's like 45,000. I buy it for $45,000, and I get the Bitcoin a year from now. I'm kind of betting that Bitcoin's going to be worth more a year from now anyway. So I basically got the Bitcoin for the cost that it is today. I don't get it for a year from now, but I think it's going to go up. So I'm not only going to make money on the Bitcoin, but now I can make money on the NFT too. That could go up a year from now. So it's kind of like a win-win scenario. So that's the kind of creative. So now I'm looking at it, if it's $50,000, I'm thinking, well, I'm paying $5,000 for the NFT and $45,000 for the Bitcoin. But I think the Bitcoin is going to be worth $100,000 or $200,000 a year from now. So I'll pay $100,000 for this because I'm going to get $100,000 of Bitcoin gains, and I'm going to get whatever the NFT accrues in value a year from now. Actually, a very, very clever way to kind of take away the pain of the risk of buying the NFT, because not only do I buy the NFT, I get some Bitcoin. And that's one. And if you really look at this space right now, it's so primitive and simple that even that idea, which is pretty simple, but it's very, very powerful because it takes away a lot of the, well, maybe the NFT isn't worth that much, but I still get the Bitcoin, so I'm willing to pay. Does that make sense? So it's a very, very smart solution, but still kind of early if you think about it. It's very simple.
Yeah, it's like the first time-based mechanic we've seen in NFT tokens, which is really interesting. I guess, you know, my big keen value is understanding is like, does this turn into like option trading in the future? Or like, what does this look like in regard to like both NFTs de-risking a potential asset value in the future? And how does that get traded? And it's super interesting. Is charged particles like actually running? Like, can you start buying those tokens at the moment right now?
Yeah, as far as I know, you can. Charge.fi.
Got
And
it.
then
I'll
they're
check it out.
Yeah, and they're working on some other, creative things, and obviously their thing is to, wrapping an NFT in another NFT and another NFT. They're trying to explore all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just gamification on gamification on gamification, because I think that's really what the secret here is just like, go look at free to play gaming for the last 15 years, either in the West or more importantly in the East and China. You pretty much will see all these same game mechanics get unrolled over the next 5 to 8 years. So it's super cool to see these kind of play out in real time. So I appreciate the insight here.
And you know what's exciting about this versus, what we saw with a lot of the tech over the past few years, like Instagram, Facebook, some say Uber, is that this is actually an accretive technology. If I'm good at making money, that means Paris makes more money. And if I'm good at hyping up the token, that means the person who buys it sees it as an investment that they can eventually sell to someone else. So there is an opportunity for all parties involved to be aligned and either make money or collect something of real value. And this is totally different than anything that we've seen before. So you can't really compare Spotify, who just, kind of gives you, price per play, or Uber, who kind of makes you compete against every driver on the road. And, maybe it's kind of a little bit closer to Airbnb actually, but this is something brand new where tens of millions of people are going to have, this is going to be their job moving forward.
I think it's very.
This is very big. This is a big change for the world.
I think it's very important for us to study what actually happened with Blau. I mean, beyond the number, beyond the $11.6 million, he was in a Clubhouse room with the bidders involved. And it was extremely exciting to see that the bidders were even more excited than Blau was. I mean, he was crying. You could hear his parents crying in the background every time a bid was placed. Whale Shark was in the room bidding, and he was describing how he was feeling anxious and how he was feeling goosebumps and that he's never had this much fun. And he was commenting on the nuances of the other bidder and how respectful they were just by the number that was shown on the screen. We've never seen that. We've never witnessed that peer-to-peer connection, all because of this community. It's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I agree. I was there yesterday and it was absolutely amazing. And Paris, if you ever do this, an NFT auction, you should definitely have a Clubhouse room or maybe even a live stream going somewhere at Twitch or YouTube, where your
Yeah.
fans can participate, because it makes the whole thing so much more exciting and historic. And what I also like about NFTs is that you can link them to longevity items that are real world things. Like you can create an NFT with a piece of art, and at the same time it's a guarantee that once a year on the birthday, the owner of that NFT is going to get a call from you wishing him a happy birthday, or things like that that are pretty simple to do but will have such an enormous value, and they can then also be traded. These people can sell them on. So there's so many great ideas, of things that you can do that are relatively simple for you, but they will have such an enormous value for people that are your fans and that are willing to invest millions in NFTs.
I did the room with Justin, and the good thing about it was with his tokens, he's doing a meet and greet, and he's going to give Whale Shark and Bitter65 lifetime access to all his concerts and backstages, and that's just priceless. And I was just so lucky to be a part of that, and he's just changed it for the whole community.
The other thing that he did was he guaranteed that if you placed a bid, even if you didn't win anything in the top 33 slots, you still got a token. So many
Yeah.
people got a token for free. And then when you looked at it when it was released, I personally got one. There were only 333 unique bids, and he got $11.6 million. Paris, what could you do if you literally invested in burning that item, cutting it up, and then selling it for $1 afterwards? You'd capture both markets. You'd get the highest bids for the item itself and the NFT, which you would then burn as part of the tribute to the process and part of the functionality of NFT, basically conveying that you understand it on a deeper level than every other celebrity trying to get into it. And then by cutting up that bag into 100 pieces and releasing it for $1 each on Clubhouse or something like a little bit, removed from Twitter or social media, you would literally break the internet.
By the way,
She'd certainly break the
if I could for one
exchanges.
sec, Paris, if you do want to do the burning idea, I have other ideas on how we could do the media around the burning, and feel free to reach out by DM if you do want to do the burning the bag and selling the NFT thing. It really is a portrait of the digital replacing the physical, and it's as much performance art as it is an auction, as it is an NFT sale.
And
If you want to do it.
oftentimes, when I've seen collectors buy right in these rooms, the artist will always offer the physical piece, and the majority of collectors don't even want it. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to flex on that.
I think it would be quite controversial if she was burning a luxury item like a Birkin bag. Surely it's going to generate some clicks, but there will also be a lot of criticism that I think isn't necessary. You don't have to take that risk. Just make it about being there for your fans and opening the door for them if they buy something at this auction to participate somehow in your life. That's a very positive thing. No one can criticize that, and you're going to achieve even more in your auction. I think I would stay away from controversial stuff.
Yeah, you don't need it.
Yeah, the trolls among us, including myself, we would have to burn a Birkin bag to get 500,000 for it. But like you, maybe you probably don't have to do that. It's up to you though.
Controversy does sell.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Right, but if you have notoriety anyway, if you're famous, like you don't need a stunt, right? But for somebody who doesn't have that, I mean, that's some of the hype around this. It's like, oh my God, NFTs, but like not everyone is going to have really successful, high selling NFTs, right? You have to be a great artist that is great in that medium, or you have to have influence already. Doesn't mean other people can't come up. It's the most democratic way for others to come up. But inherently, it's not like if you can mine a Bitcoin, then you've got a Bitcoin, right? This is a little bit deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would just like echo that. Like Swan hits it on the head. Like you already have like your top of funnel users. I think Gabe kind of mentioned it earlier. It's like thinking through what is the story and the repeatable pattern you could build. Like that's where I put thoughtfulness on this so that there's a recurring element to this that you can scale and whatever that story may mean, so you could draw that audience and keep that community engaged, because that's really where the NFT value has. So I think that's where the thoughtfulness in the story can come, where the stunt isn't needed, but it's rather recognizing what is this you could do 3 or 6 times a year, whatever the right frequency you're seeking. You could really build something really special then.
Sorry, Paris, you unmiked. Was there something you wanted to say?
Sorry, I just realized it wasn't on mute, so I was just doing that so I could listen to everybody. But I really appreciate everyone's thoughts on this, and it's definitely a lot to think about.
Yeah, I think you've reached a more mature style icon stage of your life. You know, you're more evolved now. Burning stuff, I don't think is what you need to do anymore. You know, just go out there and open your heart, open your door to your fans in a special way, connected with an NFT, and it's just going to go down in history. You know, like they said, you're going to break the internet, and at the same time you are bringing this movement to the center stage and enable other artists and creators to benefit from a growing market in the NFT space. That's what your contribution can do. So I think it needs to be something classy. It needs to be something, really well thought through.
One of the things that Justin is doing is giving back to the community. And I know you like to do a lot of charity work. So I think if you can connect it with charity work, it'll just be so powerful and you'll be helping so many people.
Yes, I love that idea.
Y'all could actually do that in an automated way. Like you could set up a smart contract or such, so that not only is it like some of the money that you make from it could go to a charity, you could automate it so that even as the token gets resold and hopefully gets more and more valuable over time, charity automatically owns a stake in it on the blockchain forever.
There's a platform for that called Eternity, and they partner with a lot of A-list celebrities specifically to do NFTs, where a portion of the proceeds are, if not all of the proceeds, become charitable donations. So you should check out Eternity, because that's specifically what they do. They don't look at like, let's sell to make $11 million. Love Justin, he's a homie. But that's specifically what they do, and they work with big time celebrities. They've worked with like Will Smith, the Winklevoss brothers. So there's like a lot of all of that already built into that platform.
I think the one thing that I continue to reiterate is that it's so important for creators and artists to just approach this as like if they can shed any of their preconceptions and thoughts about the traditional way of creating stuff, and they can just view it as like a totally new medium. Get creative. You know, there are no limits here. There are no boundaries. And if there are any natural limits or boundaries, we're gonna find out in the future. You don't need to prevent that now. Just go wild.
Yeah, I'm curious about hearing from some of the people who just joined. Krista, Renita, Nicole, if you guys have any thoughts, I'd love to hear it.
Hey, I'd also love to chime in. I didn't get to talk yet, and I'm super excited about NFTs. If that's cool. All right, I'll just well, okay, so I'm a comedian, and I've been doing some research the past couple of days because I've been going in and out of the NFT rooms, and I've just been so interested in the type of artwork that can be on a token. And I haven't seen that many tokens that involve comedy. And I don't know if I'm just not looking in the right places because I don't have the right resources and don't really understand the medium that well. But I guess I'm really excited by the idea of that and making custom jokes for people, and wondering what y'all's take is on that. As you know, you're the expert, so I'm not really sure if that sounds about right.
Yeah,
It's so funny
I
you
don't
say
know
that,
if you
because
look
I
up on
just texted Ani that an hour ago that someone should put jokes or a comedy album make it into an NFT. So
If you look up on Rarible, Hannibal Buress took one of the early clips from when he was starting comedy, and he put it up as an NFT. But there's a lot of really big comedians that are about to move into it over the next like couple weeks.
Yeah, I was really just Googling it and wondering, and I didn't see that many, and I thought that it was a huge missed opportunity, obviously.
Leah, you're close with X, so just have her help you out with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have X help me out. And I mean, I think this is such an incredible space, and I just think it's also an interesting way for people to invest in young artists. And I don't know, I'm just very excited about it.
Ask a weird question.
Sure, go ahead.
Do you think someone's gonna make the OnlyFans of NFTs for Instagram?
It's like the most obvious thing ever. I don't know who's making it, but it's probably being made right now by 20 different teams. But yeah, it's very obvious.
Yeah, I feel like that makes so much sense, because even think about it, like think about people that, I don't know if you guys were on Clubhouse really early on when there was a room and people were getting cash apps for people moaning someone's name when
No,
they said,
Patrick, this is a nice room for
Gabe,
nice people
let me finish.
only.
But I'm saying personalized audio messages from OnlyFans. Come on, think about how that would just go crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's going to be a lot of content like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be adult content, obviously, but format where you subscribe to somebody and then they sell limited content, like 10 of 10 or something like that on an NFT. That's definitely happening, and that'll happen. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if something came out tomorrow that did that. It's so obvious that it's, if it's not being built, someone in this room should start building it right now, because it's probably the most obvious thing you could do at the moment.
We're already on it. We have our drop in about a month is when our platform's launching, and we have the ability to support that. It'll probably be videos though, not audio, like custom one of one, like I'm going to scream your name at the peak moment type video stuff.
No.
But X, are you
This is
gonna
a
do
nice
it?
room, X.
X, are you gonna do it like it's like as consumer friendly as OnlyFans, where someone can go on there and like, just like you go on Instagram and you see, oh, like this person named Jackie or this person named Roberta, like, can you just follow? I'm making up names, by the way. I don't want to say any names.
I want Roberta to scream my name, Patrick. I want Roberta to do it, okay?
What if I identify as Roberta?
Okay.
No.
Then you can do it, and I'll identify as
Back on.
FluffyPony and scream your name, Roberta.
Guys, okay.
No screaming, no name screaming.
But X, is it going to be consumer friendly like that? Because
Yeah,
I think
that's
yeah.
I think that's
Got
one of
it.
the biggest pieces that's missing from the marketplace with a
that's
lot of these
exactly
NFT
what's
sites,
missing.
is they don't have the same workflow as regular marketplaces. So like, of all of the like maybe 7 or 8 major NFT players, like only one of them accepts credit cards. And like, you know, when you're going through, you're signing up, you're buying, like everything is in this language of NFTs versus like just literally saying you get a token. This is what your token is. This is the resale value of your token. Like just simplifying it for like the non-techie people who aren't so caught up in the space, I think is going to be definitely our competitive advantage. And like I said, we have a lot of like A-name folks, really, really big celebrities, some of the biggest singers in the world, some of the biggest DJs in the world, some of the biggest content creators in the world already lined up to launch on our platform. So it's just a matter of time.
Can we
Hey,
invest?
I have a question.
Yeah, Patrick, if you want to invest, talk to Ben. Ben is one of the investors in the platform and managing it. Word.
Yeah, we're on text. Patrick's a great guy.
But guys, I just want to emphasize one thing. Sorry, Leah, and then you can go. Like, please don't make it super. Like the people that are going to make this a hit are going to understand that most people in this country and in the world are not super smart, and they need it to be really, really easy to use and like foolproof. Because if you figure that out, just like OnlyFans did, you are going to have a cash king, you know, and like using Apple Pay and like all these things, you know, like Gabe always makes fun of me because I'm not really a crypto kid, but like, you know, make it so it's easy for people that aren't crypto people to use it, you know, because I want to buy a one-of-one song or one-of-one video or something from a friend of mine that's an artist or that's a a musician, or like Paris. Paris is a DJ, she's a singer, she's an actress, she's a reality star, she's an icon. I mean, Paris is across all mediums, across all genres. So there's people like that that are just, you know, they can do anything. And wow, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think the user experience is super important, and part of the reason why there's not just one like market leading platform. There's not like the Amazon for this, right? And then also just like folks like Paris or these other artists are going to want to put the platform on their own website. Like they're not necessarily going to want to point people to a marketplace. So I think having like a Shopify version will also be easy for like the folks like Paris who can like go in and say, here's my content, here's what I want to sell it for, put it on an auction, have her people connected to like ParisHilton.com, and then be able to like run the auction from her own site to keep that traffic more organic versus like having to go to like 10 different websites, like pushing everything everywhere. That's just not the flow of it. And lucky for me, I mean, I've been building products at Google and at Microsoft and, you know, all these big different companies for major corporations that have hundreds of thousands, if not billions of users in my current role. So I'm hoping to be able to bring that lens to what we're building. And Patrick, look forward to connecting with you through Ben. Justin's here. What's up, Justin? Congratulations on $1 billion.
Yo, thanks. Thank you. It's not about the money though. It's about the statement that we made. Really, like this is serious. This is going to change artists' lives, and I'm just excited about that. And I'm actually just going to listen. I've been talking all day, so I'm going to just listen and hang out with you guys. And I love you and appreciate you.
Hey, Blau, nice to hear from you again. But congratulations, man, for the room. There's 1,500 people in here. Blau sold a...
Oh, Gabe. Yo,
hey,
Gabe,
how's it going, brother?
Dude, come on, I just have to ask you. Did you like my game theory, man?
No, yeah, I was impressed actually. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, it was good.
I love your idea
auction...
of the blind. I loved your idea of the blind.
We could try blind later,
one.
but that was good. That was really good. I watched the whole thing. I was in the room. I watched it. It was amazing. But for the people here, there's 1,500 people here. Blau has a world record. He just sold 33 hours.
Oh no.
I think someone muted you, Gabe.
No, someone muted me. Oh my goodness.
Wasn't me.
Is that Michaela? It's got to be Michaela.
Before you like Gabe, I know you know it was not me.
But anyways, Blau just sold 33 copies of his album that he released in 2018. Okay, it's not a new album. It's an older album with some unreleased tracks and some bonuses for $11.6 million. This is a really big deal. He's an independent artist. I mean, Blau, just tell him a little bit of your kind of like professional standing so people can understand that, you know, you're not like signed to the biggest labels or whatever. Like you sold $11.6 million worth of digital goods in what, like 2 hours?
Well, I guess technically it was 2 days, but the 10 million happened in the last hour.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you're not signed, right? Like you're not
not
part of any kind of big machine or anything.
No. My father taught me to own myself from the beginning, and I kind of was waiting for this moment to come, where, you know, you could really make a difference just being independent without working through legacy systems, legacy models. And I studied economics and like index derivatives in college. I love math. Making electronic music is all about math and programming. And I'm not a software engineer, but I had this crazy idea that the Origin Protocol team helped me build. And basically like capitalizing on game theory economics, Nash equilibrium shit. And it worked. And now we're here. And I get to talk to a crowd of people about it. And I'm honored. I'm honored, Gabe, because like I know your history and I know the work that you've done in this space. And it's just really cool to meet you and to talk to you, because for those of you in the room who don't know, Gabe's a fucking legend in the gaming world. And that's kind of what I wanted to create. It was just really cool to see it work. And, you know, yeah, I mean, I've been talking all day. I really just came to hang and to say, I fucking love you guys. Love Clubhouse. Love all you here. Gotta get some sleep and figure out what the next move is. But it's really thanks to all of you that any of this is possible. And I think this past year has unlocked opportunity. It's been a struggle for a lot of people, but it's also unlocked a whole new realm of opportunity for the masses to rise up against what are typically really inefficient systems.
Congrats.
We've seen that happen so many times.
Thanks, Blau. Yeah, great to have you.
Yeah, congrats.
Honestly,
Congratulations, Justin.
Thank you, guys.
What's
Thank you.
really interesting.
Winning.
Justin, I just recommended to Paris to get in touch with the Origin Protocol guys. Can you tell her a little bit about your experience with them and why you think that would be a
Yeah,
good
sure.
match for her?
Paris, I'll DM you. I mean, that's what I've been doing all day. And Paris, you know, we met in Miami, and you know, I remember hanging out with you. You're amazing, and you're a legend, and I'd love to connect you with them. But yeah, Origin Protocol built this, and we have some really cool ideas for the future. I just got off like a 2-hour phone call with the founders, and you know, we all just kind of believed in each other and made this happen. But yeah, my inbox and my texture go nuts. But Paris, like you're a legend. I'd love to chat with you about it. I'll DM you on Twitter.
Hey, Blau,
I
I have
love
a
you,
question
Blau.
for them.
I already DM'd
Sorry.
you like 2 hours ago on
Oh,
Instagram.
sorry.
So check it.
Hey, Blau, what were the bids done in crypto or cash?
So you could use a credit card at the beginning of the auction, and 2 of the final bids were in credit cards, but the other
Really?
31 were in crypto, and that's just
Okay.
because credit card limits, you know, and how we
Right.
didn't
Yeah. Well.
really know.
Yeah. Because I was wondering because it was a lot of cash, right? So I was wondering if they had like preload cash, or if it was done in Ethereum. It wasn't really obvious from the bidding site.
So none of it. So we built a Uniswap contract, or Origin Protocol built a Uniswap contract where if you wanted to deposit ETH, the contract would swap the ETH for USDC and deposit it for you automatically, so you didn't have to do a second transaction.
Okay.
So the Origin team programmed that for ETH. The reason why we didn't want to enable ETH is because volatility would make it really hard for us to have. Yeah.
And
so
it was going down. That's why I was asking, because Ethereum was like crashing while that auction was going on. That's why I was kind of curious.
Which is no, that's exactly why we we were worried.
That's
that
a good
could
solution.
happen.
That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah, so we just created this the Origin Protocol team created this contract that would just do the swap for you and deposit it. And but most people actually just deposited USDC. Most of it was USDC, and then
still a
credit cards were
crypto,
also
right?
enabled.
That's still kind of a crypto, right? So that's interesting.
Yeah. It is. Yeah,
that's interesting. Okay, yeah, it wasn't obvious from the site like how the bidding was happening. That's why I was curious.
Oh yeah, so if you weren't registered and you weren't actually bidding, you wouldn't have even seen the screen of like your options. So you had the option in the beginning to pick credit card or crypto, and we actually had to disable. You can't swap in the middle of the auction. This is like there's a lot of like programming backend that we had to navigate, and we learned a lot of like crazy lessons in this process because we tested it like 8 times before we did it, but we never could predict what would happen when we actually ran it. Like no matter how much we tried, like with 20 people. It's so different when thousands of people are on the site and shit could crash but didn't, right? Like that was what was so cool, is like we had so many people looking at this website, and Nick, the lead engineer, had this brilliant idea to have a 5-second refresh for the bidders so that they would get live updates, but everyone watching got a 30-second refresh to preserve like bandwidth. And that was like the solution that enabled the site to stay up when all the action was happening. So yeah, no, I mean, it was wild, and Origin Protocol just murdered it. I mean, they just demolished it. And so I'm just thankful to have worked with them on it.
And it was such a good idea that they had the 3-minute extension for all the bidders. So it was like we were actually in a game, and
it went on for 3 hours. Ben, I love you, bro.
Oh, thanks, Justin. But it was so fun, and we were doing that room together, and you were coming in and out, and your father was on. It was just like a whole new experience, and I was just so lucky to be a part of it, and it was ingenious.
Ben, you're a legend for being a part of it, and like for those winners who won, like there's so many surprises that we haven't even told you about yet. So I'm just trying to catch up on communications, and happy to be in this room and chat with y'all. I'm gonna mute myself and just listen, but also just have to say thank you to Clubhouse, because like I don't even think this could happen without doing that Clubhouse room. That Clubhouse room was such a big part of the auction in a weird way. Probably everything. Made it.
I wanted to comment on that. I mean, I feel like part of the reason why people buy front row tickets to concerts and join fan clubs and stalk celebrities is because of this desire to get close to them, to feel a personal connection. And I definitely felt like a I mean, okay, so Justin, I mean, obviously it's a little bit different because I already know you, but I felt like this auction definitely drew people closer to you on an individual level, being able to interact with you during that bidding process, to feel a connection to your music. I think that was really special as well. And I sort of, one of the things that the comment that you made earlier, which has really stuck with me now and that I've been thinking about the last few minutes, is how much damage COVID has done to artists' ability to perform live. And I'm not saying that everyone's going to be able to put out amazing NFTs, but certainly as an alternate revenue stream, I think it could be the saving grace for a lot of artists out there, a lot of musicians, a lot of creators.
Can I add
Hey,
something in here?
I have a
Hey,
question real quick.
I just want to, Kim, I just want to add something
Sure.
really quick for anybody who wanted to sell an NFT. I think if I had to guess what the biggest part of Blau's success was, is that he's actually pretty well plugged into the crypto community. And these NFTs ultimately are cryptos. And there's a lot of speculation in crypto. There's a lot of crypto millionaire, billionaire type people. And them. He's friends with the community. He's been embedded in the community for 4 years. They're they're 6 years. So these people have $4 million. They have it, right? They've been trading crypto for the past 6 years, maybe even longer. They may even have $1 billion. Who knows? So if I were an artist or a celebrity, there is one thing that I would do to make sure that my NFT sold really, really well is I would become very close friends with the crypto community. I would make a involved in Bitcoin. I'd make a big effort to get involved in Ethereum. I would reach out to the community. I would even go to the conferences. I would do all that stuff.
Gabe, I went to
those are the
Korea
people.
Blockchain Week in 2018.
Right.
But
Exactly. I mean, Blau, do you agree with this advice?
I mean, well, so I think I think that in my case,
you
maybe,
think the Ethereum guys are going to bid up like crazy? I mean,
no,
that's what you're seeing with people.
Dude, but it's not just them though. There are a lot of people that aren't those
okay,
people.
cool.
Like in my
fantastic.
auction, it was definitely that way because of how it was structured, and we didn't know that. We had no idea what was going to happen. It turned out that way. But my plan is to definitely sell way more affordable products that might not take as much time and effort. I mean, we put months and months of sleepless nights into this product, and I actually Josh, one of the founders of Origin, just joined the room. I'd love to bring him up here. If he could speak about the product, because I mean it's the middle of the day in Taiwan where he is, and I am absolutely wiped. So I would love to mute myself and give the floor to the guy that built this, Josh at Origin Protocol. I'm just going to invite him up.
Thanks for having me up here. Yeah, it's been really amazing. The launch it's really exceeded all of our expectations.
Hey, Josh, great to have you here. I have a quick question that just interests me personally,
Sure.
and that is the potential tax exposure that comes with selling NFTs. Do you have a concept in place for your clients that gives them the most efficient way not to have to pay income tax? And let me just elaborate on this thought. If you were to launch a company first, and this company buys the rights to the NFTs from the artist, and then the company sells them, maybe there is a way to see it more as a fundraising for the artist for future projects, so none of the money is lost and it can really be used to be reinvested into the creative ecosystem. Like, what is the advice you give to your clients when it comes to tax issues?
So I can't comment too much on that, unfortunately. Obviously, we encourage people to pay their taxes, but we also understand the desire from artists to optimize that and not pay a penny more than they're legally required to. It is tricky because it varies by jurisdiction and where you're based. But yeah, I think in most cases, the IRS are going to treat that as income that you need to pay taxes on. But obviously, there are lots of techniques that people have been using for a long time on how to optimize their tax exposure. And I think all of that still applies here. Whether that's moving stuff offshore, setting up a trust or foundation that actually is a beneficiary of those proceeds. But you really should talk to your own tax advisor to talk more about that.
Yeah, one of the great things that that crypto, I think, has accelerated is the ability to play regulatory arbitrage and to incorporate offshore in a tax efficient structure, and to be able to do things like lend money to the UBOs and all sorts of stuff like that. So I think that there's certainly a tax advisor can provide more color on this. But yeah, I don't think there's much in the way of limits. And certainly if you look at the people that bid on Blau's auction, I'm sure Josh and Matthew can provide more stats as to where the bidders were coming from. But even people like Whale Shark and 0x1b, 0xb1, whichever, we're not talking about people that are necessarily entirely US based. And when you've got a global audience like that, why not take advantage of your structure as well? I actually would be curious as to I don't know if this is something that you're willing to talk about, Josh or Matthew. What did the traffic look like? Was it predominantly US, or was it sort of a mixed bag?
It's all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's people were tuning in from everywhere.
Any crazy insights you took away from that process, or anything that surprised you around it?
I think we kind of expected that the auction would really heat up in the last, couple hours or so. But I think both us and Justin were definitely just blown away at just how much demand there was for the NFTs he was creating. And so, we're so blessed and thankful for all the 33 winning bidders, as well as the many others that participated, who, by the way, will get a free loyalty NFT. But I think this is just the beginning. And so I think having all this important stuff happen yesterday, I think, is going to be a moment in time that we all look back on a couple years from now and just feel really, really proud about. And then we're glad that we got to be a part of this process.
Matthew, Josh, you had that one bid that was accidental, right? It jumped from 40 to 314,000, if I remember correctly. Can you speak on how you were able to resolve that with how quickly you did that?
Oh yeah, it went up to 413K. We reached out to the person, and actually there was one, a bit of a learning process here. So that bid was made with the credit card. And we were very sure that that would probably not go through. There's not many credit cards that can handle that. And so we checked with the person, and then we attempted a pre-auth and realized that was not going to go through. And so it was clearly an accidental bid, and so we just took it off the board as fast as we could. We certainly didn't want to have an incorrect bid affecting the rest of the auction.
Yeah, and our intentions there with supporting credit cards was making this accessible to everyone. And certainly that played a big role in the start of the auction, where it was easy for a lot of people to participate because we supported credit cards. But really towards the end of the auction, it's obvious of how superior crypto is as a payment method. The finality of crypto and having the money there, it's there. And you don't have a challenge of trying to collect, over $3 million on a credit card, which is probably not going to happen. And so crypto is really enabling, for at least for this size of auction, it's enabling something you really wouldn't be able to do in traditional finance at all. You could have people pre-wire refunds or something like that, but you wouldn't even be able to re-up your bids. And we saw people in the last hour or two of the auction, continuing to send more funds in, add more, ending up bidding way higher than they'd originally planned. And all of that is only possible with crypto. Traditional finance wouldn't really support that very well.
Yeah, and I think I'll just add to it. I think it depends. What we wanted to do was really ensure a smooth user experience, so that both people that were crypto savvy could use the platform and not have it crash like some of the other platforms have crashed. Have very smooth deposit experience. And thankfully, what we've heard from the feedback from users is we were able to do that, and they've thought that this platform has been much easier to use in many cases. But also, as Josh alluded to, we think that there's a much bigger opportunity for NFTs, even a few years down the line, right? And that's where we need to make it mainstream accessible. That's why we put the credit card bidding in place. What we learned is, for an auction where NFTs could be going for millions of dollars, credit cards are probably not an acceptable instrument. And so I think for that type of setup, in the future, it'll probably be crypto only. However, something that is way more accessible is potentially like an open edition NFT offering, right? So maybe this thing is a fixed price at $50, $100, $1,000, $5,000, $5,000, stuff that we commonly know credit cards can support, and then it's all about how many people want to buy this NFT in a short time period. And so that experience, I think, would be a better one for mainstream, especially as the NFT audience expands. From the whales to crypto normals, and then eventually where we would like to end up is that people are purchasing NFTs and using NFTs to engage with creators and artists and things like that, but they may not even need to know what an NFT is, right? It may just be this digital access pass, this cool digital badge or whatever it is that gives them special privileges, or is it can be used to redeem a physical product, can unlock content, whatever it might be, but they don't necessarily even need to know the words non-fungible token NFT. And that's when we'll know that we really, really cracked a multi-billion dollar opportunity for the creators, and also created new innovative ways for fans to engage with their favorite creators.
Hey, Josh and Matthew. We have a unique opportunity here with Paris, who is flirting with NFTs. She's looking into the space. She's interested. Could you guys give her each like a 1-minute pitch what Origin Protocol could do for her?
Sure.
Yeah.
Actually, we'd love to hear from Paris first. Tell us more about how familiar you are with NFTs and what you're looking for. Would love to hear from you first, and then we can tell you a little bit about our backgrounds.
Okay, well, I've just been looking into this for the past couple weeks, and that's why I was on here tonight, just to learn more about this. And just throughout this conversation, I've been thinking of a lot of different ideas, whether people were saying either using, iconic items that I already own, or music, or unreleased music, or even my song Stars Are Blind, or the artwork that I make paintings, which I can make into digital. So there's just so many things that I do with DJing, with music, with art, with fashion, with the simple life, even, because I heard people saying you could move, I don't know, like things that you've been in. So I was just thinking of just all the things I've been through in my life that have meaning. And I don't know, it's a lot. That's why it's just hard to really nail down exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, I could jump in with a couple ideas here. One of our big theses entering the NFT space with this launch that we did with Justin is that NFTs have mostly started out as digital art, right? Audio, visual elements, they're collectibles, and I think that's a great starting point, and that does have a lot of intrinsic value, and we've seen the explosive growth of NFTs in just the past couple months, right? Hundreds of millions of dollars of NFTs sold in just that format. But one of the things that we think is an even more exciting opportunity is how do NFTs interact with, and how are they tied to things that people are already using in the real world. And we tried 3 different segments here with Justin's drop, and I think that really added a lot of value and a lot of possibilities for the creators to then interact and engage with Justin in new, meaningful ways. And so there's 3 broad categories that we focused on. So NFTs being tied to a physical product. So each of the NFTs that were auctioned off, they can be put in a redeem state. And when that happens, Justin is going to send over a special edition commemorative vinyl. He's going to sign the packaging. And that's how an NFT can be tied to a physical object. And so if you have limited edition merchandise, you want to create a new product line, that's one way where NFTs can be involved, and I think attract people that are really interested in getting these like scarce physical items. A second major category is around unlocking digital content. So with these NFTs that Justin auctioned off again, you'll be able in the next few days to be able to play unreleased tracks that he's uploading to the Blau.com website. And this is pretty unique experience, right? Because usually artists spend months or sometimes years producing a finished song, and once it's finished, it's finished. Fans usually don't have exposure to the creative process and are not able to see kind of unreleased tracks. But these 33 participants will all go get a piece of that access, right? Not the entire library, but potentially 1 or 2 songs in the lower tiers, and then the platinum winner is going to get the largest collection of unreleased music. And so that's one way to think about it, but it doesn't have to be just music, right? It could be this thing unlocks the ability to view premium video content or even paid articles, something that,
Matt,
is,
Matt, I just wanted to add, so the top 6 bidders basically will be also getting an NFT that we have yet to mint, but that will give them all access to any of my shows for life. So they could theoretically choose to come to one show and then resell that if somebody else wants it. That's like a mechanic that I'm quite excited about, because everyone wants to be backstage, and I think it could be really interesting to see some of these collectors use the pass. They can use it as much as they want, but it's into perpetuity. But they could also choose that they've maybe gone backstage at EDC, they've seen it, and then maybe they want to sell that access to someone else. So we're going to start experimenting with all these different things, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, sorry for rambling a little bit. Just to add on to a final point to what Justin was saying, I think a third area is just experiences, right? NFTs as access passes. Justin mentioned the backstage stuff, but also in this particular case, he's actually producing a brand new single with the creative direction and input of the platinum NFT winner. And so I think that's a very, very, very special experience. I don't know if anything like that has ever really been done before, but wow, that's history setting right there.
And as far as what we can offer from Origin side, we'd love to work with you, Paris. We'd love to do a drop. We think that'd be super cool. So we should connect offline and figure out the details. But some of the benefits for you, one is you get to control the experience. You saw with Justin's drop, it's on his website with his branding. You're not sending people to some third-party website that may or may not be able to handle the traffic. The other platforms, I don't want to throw shade at other players in the space, but staying up online with a huge amount of traffic, everyone hitting at the same time is really challenging, even for the best engineering teams out there. But our team, we have one of the founders of PayPal, first engineer from YouTube, some of the best Silicon Valley engineers around. And I think that really came off with the experience that we did for Justin. It's a site, we have a site that'll be able to stay up, be able to handle the traffic. And not only that, but just the thoughtfulness of the design, how it looks, how smooth the flows are. We've put a lot of energy into it, and we have a lot of super talented people on our team that would love to work with you and figure out, what a custom drop could look like that fits with your brand and your experience.
Hey, I want to jump in right here, Josh, Matthew, and Justin. I have my one of my right-hand guys, Jerry here. Jerry, do you have any questions that you like to ask Josh or Matthew?
Oh, thanks, Hammer. I currently I'm just listening, and at the moment I don't have any questions right now. But thank you. I'll comment when I do have more questions.
Josh, I reached out to you on Twitter. If you can check username's expletive. I've got a project I'm working on. I'd love to involve you guys.
Yeah, apologies to anyone who's tried to get in touch with me, Matt, or Justin
Yes,
in the last couple
sorry
days.
guys.
We're all just
I woke up to 600 text messages this morning, which is like, that's amazing. Like, I'm so excited, but I really do want to get back to everyone. So if you're in this room and I haven't gotten back to you, I just come to Clubhouse to like chill out, you know, but I will get back to you. I promise.
I was like, I just come to Clubhouse to make $11 million.
Jesus.
Yeah, Blau, is that your going rate for participating in a Clubhouse room now? That's like the bar.
Oh man, you know, like one of the things that I'm talking to my family about today, like I talked to my family about today, is like the first thing I'm doing is setting up a foundation. Like this is awesome. Like the money's great, but like I definitely am going to be reinvesting it in the artist community. That's like the most important thing to me. And there's so much power that I think this is a statement more than it's about the $11 million. The $11 million is great, but I've also been a Bitcoin investor for a really long time. And so has Matt, and so has Josh. This is making a statement that, you know, artists have power in the face of, you know, legacy antiquated systems. And that's what I'm most excited about. The $11 million is wonderful, but you know, I really do plan on donating a lot of that and using it to help the community in ways that, you know, I hope support new artists that don't have that platform. Because I didn't when I started when I was 19 years old. I didn't have a platform. I had the internet. And that was my force. You know, I was able to post my music on Facebook and SoundCloud and not sign a record deal to get exposure. And that's what did it for me. And so this is kind of the next stage of that, right? Where the internet made it easy for anyone to upload content. Now it's easy for anyone to actually monetize that content. And that changes the game. I mean, that just lowers the barrier to entry and lets so many creatives explore their creativity in a way that they never would have ever been able to before. And so that's what I'm most excited about here.
So how are you feeling about all of this, Paris?
Oh, I couldn't hear you. Sorry, the phone cut out. What?
How are you feeling about all of this?
So excited. I think this is just the future, and it's fucking awesome. And that's why I'm up at like almost 2 a.m. to listen to this, because I'm just fascinated by all of it. And I'm so proud of you, Justin. That's so like sick and amazing. And I love what you're saying with your message about just helping other artists. And this is a huge statement. So congrats, and you deserve it.
Thanks, Paris. I know it's been a while. I feel like the last time I saw you was in Miami at Ultra when the world was open like a couple years ago.
No, that was so much fun.
I can't wait to go back.
Me too. Soon.
I think so. You should do your NFT first, and then maybe do a collaboration, you know, with some of your hot celebrity girlfriends, and have like the 5 hottest chicks on the internet doing a collaboration NFT together.
I like that. That's a cute idea.
Do you ever feel like we're living in an alternate reality on Clubhouse? Like, that's how I feel right now. Like
fucking Matrix, bro.
This is the fucking Matrix.
Simulation. I was literally just thinking the same thing. Wow, I don't know if you remember, we met back in 2014 in Vegas at a group dinner, and we have the same. I just realized we have the same birthday,
Kelly.
the same year.
Yeah, I remember. Kelly, great to see you. Yes, was it at Hakkasan?
Yeah, and
I
we
remember.
Yeah, our birthdays are 1991. So January 9th, 91. Our birthday is the same as our birth year. And I just realized that we have the same birthday. But yeah, it's been a while. So it's so good to see you again. I definitely feel like I jumped into a weird dimension here. And the fact that you just did that, I'm so bloody proud of you. I can't even explain.
Thank you. And shout out to shout out to Ben in the room who actually made it into the top 33. Ben, you're a fucking G. And honestly, Ben, I'm gonna hop off Clubhouse so I can call you, because I should just call you now. Otherwise, who knows?
Yeah.
But Ben, I'm calling you right
call.
now. But guys, guys, love you all, and have a wonderful night. You've got Matt and Josh here who can speak to anything that happened. I mean, they're the geniuses behind everything that happened. And it's just awesome, guys. Like, and Clubhouse definitely played a big part of it. I thought I could take a day off. It doesn't look like I can take a day off. That's okay. We're gonna keep grinding and keep building, and that's good. So
It's called Crack
Justin,
House for a reason.
We thought it was all going to end on Sunday, but I think we're all going to be grinding for the next like 6 months, 12 months nonstop. There's no time for us
yes,
to
we
rest.
are.
Apparently,
Yes, we
we're doing
are.
a drop for Paris now. I'm excited for that. Yes.
Yeah, happy to field any other questions about the auction or just NFTs in general.
Yeah, hey Josh, Matt, Sam here. I just shot Josh a DM on Twitter, but I just wanted to quickly jump in here. I know you guys are going to be crazy busy for a while, but I'm talking with a publisher that's like a household name, 20, 30 million followers on social, that has the rights to like tens of thousands of images. Think like a National Geographic type brand. And I'm pretty close with their executives, and we've just been like talking about different ideas of things that they can do with their IP. And now they're just starting to think about NFTs, and would love to connect you with their team and talk about it.
Josh and Matt, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay. So my friend, I already texted him to join, but he can't. But I'm gonna have a bunch of big names later on this week. But basically, he was partners with an artist. I'm not gonna say who, but you can figure out who, that unfortunately passed away. They have a lot of unreleased music. Is it ethical? Like, and this is one of the biggest artists. Is it ethical to do NFTs with someone that is not alive anymore, but there's unreleased music? That would be, the money would go to his estate, I guess.
I mean, what's the difference between that and just like a label releasing the unreleased stuff? I mean, the estate benefits, right? And they're ultimately have a choice.
No, Fluffy, you're right. I'm sorry. I think this would, I just know this artist, like, it would just go insane. And I don't know. I'm like, they're going to make such a killing. Like, is it ethical to do that? Because like the person is no longer here, and they didn't die of old age.
So the way I see it, right, is their estate has the unreleased music because it was left to their estate for their benefit. And whatever thought process they went down, they created that music and didn't like destroy the masters after creating it because they wanted people to have it. They wanted the world to have it. They wanted their estate to ultimately benefit. And so NFTs are probably the most direct way for the estate to benefit without a label taking a chunk. And I don't know what their relationship is with the label. Of course, there's probably complex legal issues there, but I think it would certainly be an interesting test case for NFTs. And hey, if it breaks the internet in the process, all the better.
Thank you,
right.
Fluffy.
And in
Thank
fact,
you, Fluffy.
The only people that would stand to benefit from, like, outside of the family with the estate beneficiaries, the only other people who stand to benefit are the label. And so in this case, there could be thousands of people. I don't know how many pieces, but there could be thousands of people that benefit, and it can be ongoing and secure and verifiable. So I think NFT seems like the right way to do it. I think we have to. The one question I have for the Origin Protocol folks or anyone else is like, what's the simplest way to lease, like, or rent something that you own, rent an asset that you own with an NFT? But say you don't want to give up the NFT, you just want to let other people enjoy it or get access to it. What's the simplest way?
Yeah, that is very challenging. Partly because if you think about the traditional way that NFTs are currently built, it's not like a DRM system. The actual underlying, I want to say content, but let's say like music, for example, if it's a music-based NFT, that underlying music file, whatever format it's in, might exist on IPFS or some sort of central platform, but it's basically accessible, not just to the NFT holder, but to anyone who's able to interact with the NFT. There's certainly ways that you could do it, beyond that, and I sort of alluded to this earlier when I spoke about, like, wouldn't it be interesting if someone released an NFT that gave the rights to that NFT holder? But that's not what we have today, and I don't think that's ideal for a lot of artists. I mean, giving away the rights to your underlying art also means that you never get to enjoy royalties from it. You have no control over how it's used or how it's abused. So that could be problematic. But I can certainly see a way in future where the NFT becomes a DRM token, or a way to issue a DRM token rather. I mean, you could do something like a wrapped ERC20, and then that can be held by millions of people, and each of them now has a right to listen to that piece of music or whatever. So it's not. I don't think that this is fundamentally a tech issue. I think that building this out is possible and is achievable, and I'm certain there are people doing it or building stuff like this already. It's just, who's going to take that brave first step and actually, like, embrace this?
Yeah, separately, Justin has been in Clubhouse talking a few times now about a potential future where you can tokenize a song and cut it up into many different pieces and allow fans to participate in the upside of that song in the future. Now, there's a lot of really complicated regulatory stuff associated with things that may look like security tokens, and there's also a lot of business and legal complexities given where the music industry right now is with labels and publishers and songwriters, etc. And so I think that's probably going to be a longer process. But I think that's also a pretty interesting innovation that should see the light of day sometime in the next 12 to 24 months. But I can see that being a hugely transformative process where, early fans, like rabid fans of new artists, can, in essence, like invest in their creator's music potentially before they get hot, right? And if that artist then blows up, then these early fans are rewarded for, their participation, and they're also incentivized to promote these artists wide and far because they have a cut of the pie. And so that can potentially create really, really interesting new dynamics. But again, I think it's a couple years out.
Thanks. That was awesome.
Yeah, Josh.
So I unfortunately need to drop in the next 5 minutes or so. But I think Josh may be able to stay a little bit longer. Any other questions people may have?
Hey, I wanted to wait and speak, but I just love how this community has come together. I really am inspired just by the way that it's beyond just creativity. Is really changing the game of what it means to actually be a creative. And there's infinite ways to design solutions throughout all industries that we're seeing. And I'm currently looking at it through a space of cyborg anthropology, where it's a lens of focusing on the interconnections between humans and technology. Since about 2017, I've been designing a constellation of space systems and Earth observation satellites with the value add of utilizing a hyperspectral and infrared camera. So I'm really looking at it from the aspect of bands of light, being able to identify different materials. With that, we're creating data training sets for climate solutions correlated to mapping and validating the economic, social, as well as the environmental impact of the built environment. So the data will be prepared for practitioners and data scientists focused on climate solutions. So we're looking at interesting ways to mint different bandwidths through NFTs and other space applications. I've also been ideating over how this data can be utilized during the design, as well as the transition from real world assets to inform the metaverse, as well as hyper-realistic environments. So I see a lot of great ideas of creativity being sparked in the music space, just as Blow has showcased yesterday. I see a lot of innovative ways to guarantee artists the ability to realize their sovereignty, as well as their intimacy with the people vested in their craft, as well as their presence. And we are also looking at physical digital art museums. I think that's going to be really special, you know, in the future. So just here building community and always down to create the future with superheroes.
Yeah, I love that. I think you know, I'm a technologist first and foremost, and NFTs at a technical level are very, very simple. We're just random strings of letters and numbers that are stored in the blockchain. There's not much to them at all, but it's all about the meaning that we give to them, that we add on top, and it's the community around it, and that's what gives it value. Just like, you know, with Bitcoin or Ethereum or any cryptocurrency, it's the same thing. You look at it on a technical level and you go, why are people so excited about this? But it's the stories that we create around it that really give it value and meaning. And the canvas, it's an empty canvas. You can paint whatever you want, and the world is your oyster as far as the possibilities are.
Yeah, and I think I'll just add on to that. I think one of the things that Justin did really, really well for this drop is he really engaged with the community, not just for this drop, right? He's been in the cryptocurrency space for a number of years. He's an early adopter of NFTs. He's done a couple of these, and he was really able to engage with some of the top collectors, but also the mainstream, right? His fans and things like that. And I think as a result of that, his dedication to his community and the cultivation of that over many months and years is one of the primary reasons why he was able to do such a successful drop on our platform. And so I think when other creators are thinking about this, I would encourage them to do what you guys do best, right? Create content, but also engage with those people that care about that content. And then together, what you're already doing well, do it in an authentic way, marry it now with this new NFT technology. And I think it just opens up really, really interesting possibilities. One way I like to think about it is, a particular artist or movie star may have, tens of millions of fans. Those fans are not all treated those fans are not all fans to the same level, right? There's going to be, the 99% that, adore you or consume your content in a certain way. And then there's going to be that like 1%, right? Those super, super fans that really, really want to engage with you on a new level. And that might be a one-on-one video chat. That might be the backstage access. That might be some signed memorabilia. Lots of different possibilities how you can engage with these super fans. But these are also those super fans that when they get that engagement, when they get those special experiences, they're also the ones that are willing to pay outsized amounts, right? And so with this new technology, and your existing communities, I think it's an opportunity to help you identify who your super fans are, give them the experiences and potentially physical products or access to digital content, whatever it is that they're really, really going to love. And in return, they're going to be the ones that are going to be most willing to pay for your creativity and your hard work.